Association. Council member of Care Warriors Association. Can we also have Miss Elisha Hoffman from the clinical psychologist and managing director of Well. She's also there. And then we have Prof. Madya, Dr. Amir Siddiq, Amir Modan, who is the chairman and consultant psychiatrist. Can we please give them a big hand?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for staying on with us to have this conversation around women empowerment and mental health. And we are aware that the talk session has been pushed back this morning. And I'm told that if you stay, you get to be part of the lucky draw. So how cool is that? So good afternoon once again and welcome members of the audience, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests. We are happy to welcome you, and for those who are listening in as this is streamed online, welcome again and Salam Merdeka before the weekend is over. And this is brought to you this morning under the Selangor Adun arm with the Wanita, under the Wanita Budaya arm, and this is in collaboration with Persatuan Budaya Wanita, community-based venture right here in Subang, Jaya. So we are looking for cultural activities, cultural integration. Come and join them. They can be found on the website. And this is also brought to you by Care Warrior Association. We are a mental health initiative right here in Subang, Jaya, and especially with a focus on young people and suicide. So our topic this afternoon is on women empowerment and mental health. And in a week where we have so many news about a woman Chief Justice and the Raja Permaisuri Agong advocating that there should be more women cabinet members in our parliament, so we cannot be here at a better time than this to have conversations around women empowerment and mental health. And so I want to, without wasting time, I want to introduce to you our panelists, members, and let me introduce Dr. Amir first. There are three ladies today. Dr. Amir Siddiq is consultant psychiatrist with University Malaya. He's also our president of the Care Warriors Association in Subang Jaya. He's also, if I'm not wrong, the council member of the Malaysian Health Promotion of Mental Health in Malaysia. Dr. Amir, would you like to say something about yourself so that the audience may know you a bit more?
Thank you very much, Christina, for that very kind introduction. Also, thank you everyone for being here. I just wanted to say that I'm carrying the thorn among the many roses, and I'm actually quite happy to be here with you.
And here on my left, I have Miss Elisha Hoffman. Elisha comes from a corporate finance background before she ventured into her passion. As I was talking to her, she's a co-founder of Well, a social enterprise, a community-based trauma dealing with a cut of people who are involved in trauma, and her work is primarily advocacy, promotion, and education. So Elisha, please tell us something about yourself before we start.
Hi Christina and hi everyone here. My name is Elisha and I will downplay my corporate experience because that's only 5 years. I've been a mental health practitioner longer than I've been in corporate finance. We are from ThriveWell. I am from ThriveWell, a social enterprise, and we focus on providing mental health services, particularly for communities that have been through history or experience of trauma. And I'm also a Subang Jaya girl, so SS19. So very happy to meet the community here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Our third member of the panelists this afternoon, I really do want to honor her. I know some of you came and you were expecting Dr. Chua, one of the panelists who unfortunately had to address a last-minute priority. So to me, Raja Noor Izzah, Raja Jafar, Yang Mulia, Raja Noor Izzah, Raja Jafar is truly a woman who is empowered. She stepped in for us literally at the last 13 hour, and she's here talking to us, having an open conversation about women and equality and in the workspace. So let's give a hand to Raja before we start.
Hi everyone. My name is Raja Izzah. I am honored to be amongst you, but sorry that Dr. Chua is not around, but I'll give my perspective in being in women's shoe and in the place of leadership. So maybe I can share that with the audience.
Thank you, Raja. I'm sure we're all looking forward to hear from you. And so, our topic today, as you know, it's on women empowerment and mental health. And just before this setting today, I did a very small private poll among a small group of women, asking them what they understand about empowerment, women empowerment. And let me share to you what some of the feedback that I had. One woman told me, listening to my viewpoint is women empowerment. Another said, upskilling my emotional and mental health. And then I had one person who told me, being free to be me without intimidation within my own clan. And I like this from a young teenager, a young girl. Parents over my shoulder. Not having parents over my shoulder is my empowerment. Do you like that? And lastly, I thought this is good. After 2 years of pandemic, being able to put on my lipstick is empowering. So I wonder how many of us women can relate with that. And so if I may summarize our conversation this afternoon, it's really about women empowerment, and if I can define it, that empowerment is promoting a woman's sense of worth, the ability to determine her own choices, and the right to influence social change for themselves and others for the greater good. That, if I may, is my summary of women empowerment today. So, for those of you who may have just logged in over the live stream, and those of you who are here, this conversation is brought to you this afternoon under the Selangor government arm, under the Wanita Budaya, and anchored with the Persatuan Wanita Budaya, a community-based venture right here in Subang Jaya, and Care Warrior Association. We are a mental health NGO, primarily focused on mental health for Malaysians, and especially suicide rates among the young people in Malaysia. So without further ado, let me pose our first conversation to Dr. Amir. Dr. Amir, we know that we all agree that gender discrepancy has made its way into mental health research and care today. And obviously there are significant differences when it comes to the development of mental health disorders. And given unique challenges that women face from puberty, motherhood to childbirth and motherhood, do you agree that women do face more mental disorders? And if so, what are they?
So thank you very much, Christina, for that very interesting question. Well, I think if you're looking at the research, yes, there appears to be an increased proportion of women who might be struggling with mental health needs. And I think it's got to do a lot with biology and also psychosocial situations that has been going on for years and years. So if you're looking at the biological process, we know that in a woman's life, particularly, there are going to be a number of periods where biology takes over. Monthly, they have menses, for example. There are also the individuals that are going to be carrying one's child. And of course, as they age, they also go through a process where some of their hormones might also change as well. So at each stage of this particular situation, they're at risk for both physical and emotional issues. That's the way to say. Some people might have more problems with that, some people might not have more problems with that. And therefore that itself increases the risk for certain individuals among the women folk to be at risk. At the same time, prior to probably current practices, there have been a lot of cultural issues that have impacted women negatively, sadly. As you've been sharing just now about empowerment, this is something that is rather new. Prior to this, there are lots of assumptions that women should be followers, for example, as non-leaders, and they are often in certain cultures at risk of being abused or looked down upon. And this will definitely affect one's self-worth, which also might affect their mental health. So individuals who might be going through mental health issues where chronic stress is the main risk factor can develop mental illnesses. And among the ones that have been often shared in research that are increased risk for women is going to be mood disorders, particularly depression, because of what we shared just now, and anxiety disorders being the number two major mental illness that women folk have had an increased risk of because of the issues that we discussed today.
So if I may capture for you, Dr. Amir was talking also about hormonal, the biological, physiological aspect, as well as, I know, Joseph, the cultural. We are shaped by our cultural perspective, etc., which is very evident in the society, whichever part of the world we will be living in as women. And so with this, I also want to just ask Raja, what would be the social stereotyping and social stigma that women in our society, not just in Malaysia, face with today that may set them back in relation to having the ability to empower and to determine their own social changes.
Thank you very much, Christina. Okay, in terms of social stigma, stereotyping of women, I would say it starts from a very young age when the girls are told of what their responsibilities are, which is doing some housework, working in the kitchen, or organizing things in the house, which is expected of the girls but not of the boys. And then, therefore, from a very young age, you really have that expectation by society, by culture, on what you are supposed, the role that you're supposed to play in the family and in the community. So when you go out to work, you have to start juggling your different parents, even the children, but if the kid gets unwell, it's always the mother that has to stay back, take care of the kids, not the father. And I think the list goes on and on. The role as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter, as a wife. So when you have a full day at work, and at the same time at the back there are all these things happening, if you don't have a real good support system in place, then it can lead to really a lot of anxiety and stress. And I think that's one. I think that would be the key stereotype of women, where women have to wear several hats. At the same time, what I observed during the COVID time, a lot of women were working from home, and at the same time, all the expectation for women to also take care of things that's happening around the house, like the children having to go through homeschooling, yeah? You have to set up the thing, and then all the limitations, but it puts a lot of stress to the home and to the women, and it can lead to mental health issues. So I would think, and worst off, I think, is when you are embarking on all this unpaid work at home, you're not even being recognized for the work that you've done.
Thank you, Raja, for that. As a woman myself, I think I cannot agree more. And I like what you said about you actually started talking about girls are expected to behave in such a specific manner at home. And it's so true in the world today where women leaders are everywhere. From a woman CEO of a Fortune 500 company to a woman raising 5 children, juggling a full-time work, and juggling with a full-time work and motherhood, and expected to be there for the family, for the husband, for the children. And yet the reality is that a woman, the social stigma around women today is that a woman can't be seen to be too clever, she can't be seen to be too thin, she can't be seen to be too powerful, she can't be seen to be too rich. And I sometimes do resonate with that. And so our panel member today, Miss Elisha, to me, when I got to know her through her biodata, she's really a very grounded young woman. She had her background in corporate finance, and later she went on to pursue her passion, and she's managing director of Thrive Well today. And we really would like to hear from you, Elisha. What was it like for you growing up around being an adolescent, the challenges of body image and the things that spur you on to what you do today?
I think talking about kind of a personal experience in terms of mental health, I can share. I went to school in SS14, Subang, Jaya, and growing up, I think my first experience of kind of mental health and gender, right? How the gender aspect contributes to the wellness of an individual as a child. Was I wasn't one of those kids who had asthma, had eczema, and I had patches on my face and on my joints. And I was always the kid who was like, the doctors at that point suggested that, take her out from all the BJK class. So I had to sit and watch everybody play, whatever they were playing, and I'm this kid with this big patch on my face. And I'm a girl. So there were other kids who probably, other boys, so again, this is my experience, right? Other boys who maybe had other stuff, but they were never picked on somehow. That's why my perception. So people had they called me certain names. And it was very obvious I was this, like, girl or whatever. And I think that, for me, right, really affected my self-esteem because I couldn't join the rest of my friends, playing sports. I was always this girl who had this thing on my face. And the other part was, fortunately, my home environment was good. I grew up with 5 adults in the house. I was an only child. And I was able to speak, and share my views. And my parents were, rarely they had this, oh, girl had to do this, because there was no other comparison, right? I was an only child, so I could just do whatever I need to with their guidance. But I realized in the school setting, I being a bit more outspoken is not encouraged. And I learned very quickly, right, the social norms, like the boys would say like, oh, just shut up, sit down. And so that actually conditioned me after a while. You just feel, okay, I'll just be quiet, and I'm this girl who couldn't join sports and all that. So it really affected how I perceive myself, and that's I was anxious as a child, so my parents never knew how. And I think in my own training, as I recollect and also process what happened in my childhood, right, I realized that all of the things that affected my anxiety that I experienced throughout high school. Just that the protective factor for me in high school was my eczema cleared up, and my mom, God bless her, right, saying like, look, the doctors are saying this, just go for the PE, but you know your level, like before you start wheezing, you stop. And she told the teachers, So in high school, it was a much better experience because the teachers were encouraging, and I think me having the support of other girls. So it's also very important. So this is what a big part about women empowerment, right? That you need, when you're alone, you will always feel alienated, isolated, but you need the support of your peers. And a lot of, I think, women programs now, as I'm designing and helping, my team to implement a lot of these community mental health programs, we always look at what is the strength and asset in the community, and it's always the women. So that's in a way what I took from my own childhood. I kind of in that setting because I know that without the support of people who go through the same experience, it's your self-perception, your self-esteem will definitely be affected.
Well, thank you, Elisha, for your very authentic and, if I may say, very vulnerable share on what your adolescent years were. And it's very inspiring. I think it's very inspiring to see her today, right where she is, and the work of advocacy for mental health in the cut of different community that she worked with today. And women, if you're out there, if you're struggling with teenagers, with adolescents, take a leaf from the book of Elisha that, you are doing a great job because you are shaping a strong nation as you build your community right where you are in the home today. And let's move on. If you've just joined us, if you just step in to join us here in the crowd, our topic today is Women Empowerment and Mental Health, brought to you in conjunction with Semangat Merdeka 2022. And we are all really very happy here to have open conversations on mental health. And moving forward, this is where we all want to be a part of building this nation to be resilient, to be strong, right where we are. And well, at least Raja, Elisha and myself truly believe that it starts with girls and women. So women, you're doing a great job. Give yourself a clap. Okay, I want to go back to Dr. Amir again because really discussion on women's health has always been addressed around the reproductive years, the biological and physiological changes women go through when they get older. And I know that Subang Jaya is, our population is kind of, have a big population of older women and retirees. And we're thankful for them because they're there to support many of the activities and events that's around the community. but see that we also have older women here in our crowd. And I myself am an emerging retiree, if I may say so, OD, as I call myself sometimes. Dr. Amir, please talk to us about the challenges, emotional challenges that a woman in this coming milestone from motherhood to the elderly years may face, so that at least we're a bit more aware, we know what we need to do on the trajectory to empower women.
Wow, that's a very challenging question to ask me. So I think to start, I think one of the things that we did not share just now, but I think was brought up in the open, was another risk factor is going to be financial health. And in certain cultures like ours, there's also this propensity that the husband might hold the purse strings. We hear a lot of terms like homemaker, housewives, and oftentimes they might be lacking in financial security. So that's another potential risk factor. So going back to your question, as of the women in particular in Subang Jaya, in one of those particular communities that it's quite an old community. I have lived here for about a year of my life, somewhere around USG. And I recall that a number of friends of mine were also here when we were much younger. And now all of these friends have become around my age, and now their parents are the ones that are mainly living. But there's a resurgence of young people coming in to buy properties in Subang Jaya because the community itself is quite established with various infrastructure, schools, banks, for example, and places of business. So we've got now, I think, a mixture of population in this area. But I think what we've got to be mindful about, for women particularly, as I've shared just now, there is a biological aspect that needs to be taken into consideration. I think the good news is that you're probably going to outlive me, no matter what. Yeah? Because statistically, women outlive men. So that's the first good news that we've got. The second news that I think is really good is that what we just seen just now, we had these women that were, that were actually doing the Tai Chi or Wushu. And I think there was one guy there as well, the token male, just like myself. And you could see that they were very fit. And I think this is another positive aspect of it, because often women probably do much better physically compared to men. Again, probably due to maybe some of the work that these men have been doing when they were younger. Or maybe, of course, the care that they take themselves. But at the same time, we do know that women, as I've shared with you just now, are at increased risk of developing certain health conditions because of the hormonal changes. So I think the first thing that we've got to look at is definitely in terms of taking care of that. And there's lots of medical assistance that can be actually done now to ensure that women don't have to go through too much health turmoil in terms of the changes in the hormone. That's the first thing. The second one is, of course, being mindful about ensuring that you have enough saving for a rainy day, because financial health is mental health. No matter whether you're a homemaker or you're employed, whether you are single or married, being financially independent is actually really important to protect your mental health. Yeah? I think the third one, of course, is to ensure that you have adequate rest and adequate exercise. Because again, these two are going to be issues that we often don't take care of at the very early stages of our life. And as a result of that, we pay in the future. So I think these are the three things that I think probably one can address in any community, particularly among women, to ensure that their mental health will be protected moving forward.
Thank you for that, Dr. Amil. So people out there, look after your physical health, think of your financial empowerment in the years to come. And I believe social network is also a very integral part of being emotionally resilient and mentally stronger for the sunset years ahead, if I may use that term. and something for us to think about. And again, coming back to Subang Jaya, I think we are at least one community, one constituency that I'm aware of, that there's just so many activities and events happening for the older population in this generation. And there I see Mr. Yang is the head of the PWB, if I'm not wrong, the Senior Citizens Club. So well done to you, Mr. Yang, and your team for what you do for Subang Jaya. I want to move on to Elisha. Elisha, earlier we talked about girls and the adolescent years, the social peers, the peer pressure, etc. that young girls have to face with. And mental health problems in Malaysia, as we all know, are certainly on the rise. And as far back as 2018, as I recollect, about 80% of employees in the workplace are experiencing self-related stress, and so, but again, today we have also, our conversation around mental health has also evolved from de-stigmatizing mental health, something that the Care Warriors Association is very passionate about, and what we do every month on our Subang sessions. And well, decriminalizing suicide is also one of them, was huge when it comes to mental health. And pandemic has turned our world upside down for many of us. And so I'm just thinking that if we were to bring it to ground zero, what are some of the life skills and mental health literacy that we as a nation can promote to young girls or women, maybe in a formal setting or even just around conversations that we can have every day in the marketplace or the street? What are your thoughts about it, Michelle?
Your question, Christina, it's, I don't think there's a one right answer for this.
Of course, we just like to hear from you and where you are, and perhaps maybe...
I feel like we're getting a Viva here. Elisha. She's asking really tough questions.
Exactly, tough question.
Later, I'd like to invite Dr. Amir to join in this conversation, and Raja too, let's keep this conversation around us so that we can all think about mental health, learn from mental health.
I guess maybe just to simplify this, I always say mental health is it should be all of our responsibility individually, collectively, but it's a very difficult topic to start the conversation. So a strategy that we've used in Drive Well, particularly in implementing the community mental health projects or the services that we have at our center, I would take the words of sandwiching mental health in the needs of the individual or the community. So we have a program called Akrab Mencapai Impian, where we work with PPR communities. So just an example, right? We work with the PPR communities, and we understand they have a lot of competing interests. So Dr. Amir mentioned financial health. Number one, financial health, understanding that these communities need financial health, and then we sandwich the mental health together with the financial health programs. So it's not just having a mental health literacy program, come from the mental health programs. And my own experience, 10 years ago when I wanted to do that, only 2 participants came for the program in the PPR. So 10 years later, we've learned that actually having a conversation mental health should be normalized in every setting. So whether it's in education, so the teachers should start being comfortable talking about it. If it's in the PPR community, the parents who are so-called leaders of the community should be comfortable talking about it. So we have to start with who are the primary influence or support in the community, and get them to start, train them and get them to start talking about it, so that it opens up much more conversation within a group or community.
I like that very much, and I think you have really caught the whole capsule around it, that it needs to start in the community where we are, right where we are today, conversation, in the family, with teachers, and sometimes even among peers. A very simple tagline like, it's okay not to be okay, when you know of someone who is battling with some mental health challenges. And like health-seeking behavior, allowing someone to be comfortable to seek, to allow someone to be comfortable to know that they can speak to someone in a safe space, being a friend, being kind to someone. I mean, what were some of the taglines around pandemic? Be kind to someone, you don't know what someone is going through. And there are really just so many things around being a peer for mental health, a support, a pillar, a friend. And I think Elisha has just very clearly said to us that it really need not just be around in a very formal setting. So really we can start it, begin it right where we are. And I wonder if other member of our panelists, would you like to add to that?
Well, certainly I think I fully agree that moving forward, especially as a result of the pandemic, that all of us have felt what it might feel like to be struggling with some level of mental health issue. I think we must not forget that when we're talking about health and being healthy, it's actually the accumulation of not only just physical health, where we have invested a lot of our time, our knowledge, our efforts in it, but it's also social well-being and mental health. And I think this is where every activity that we do, as much as you're afraid to fall down and crack your head, literally, you should also be mindful about how it's affecting your emotional situation as well. Yeah? So when you are doing whatever activity that you're doing and you are being very mindful about the surrounding to protect your physical health, you also should be thinking about mental health at the same time too. And I think this is where all the activities that we do, whether it's education, whether it's finance, whether it's community engagement, whether it's social interaction, really needs to incorporate the need for us to protect our mental health. And I think going back to your last question just now about what we can do as we grow older, the last thing that we want is to be physically healthy, but then mentally unhealthy. Because it's such a pity. You are physically healthy, able to walk, but because of illnesses like maybe depression, for example, you're incapacitated at home, just like as if you would have had a physical disability. So it's really, really important for all of us here to incorporate both the physical and the mental health aspects of health in general, apart from, as you rightly mentioned, Christina, connecting among individuals, which I think we do really well in this community, because that means that we are healthy in a holistic manner altogether.
Thank you for that, Dr. Amel. And if I may summarize, ladies and gentlemen, your physical health is akin to your mental health, and we really need to treat our mental health in the same parallel, in the same vein as you would go for your health screening, as you would choose to eat right, as you would choose to exercise and do the things to help you to be physically healthy. So that's really very powerful to know. Thank you again, Dr. Amin. And I look at you, you have been involved in so many things. I mean, your credentials are impeccable. Ladies and gentlemen, Raja is one of the founding members of Prayer Warrior Association in Subang, Jaya, and she was also the first female lady who started to help golf as an exercise in the golf club Selangor, if I'm not wrong. And today she is head of strategy with Menteri Besar Incorporated. the MIB, the Selangor Investment Arm, and she was also involved in childcare intervention as part of the program in Selangor. And looking at you today, you know, I'm sure it's not without its challenges to take you where you are today. And I just want to hear from you, and I'm sure the members of the audience too. How do you divide the difference of opinion as a woman? You know, where you are as a woman, as a leader in your environment. We truly would like to hear your experience. You know, how is inequality for you, or maybe the women that you see around you in the workplace?
Thank you, Christina. You're so kind. Okay, question again. That's from too much juggling work. So, okay, in terms of managing the opinion to ensure equality among women, I would say it's okay to be mean, to behave. I mean, there is an expectation. It is really a boys' club still outside when you are in the when you are having your career. It's still a woman's a boys' club. So therefore, women actually have to go the extra mile to prove that you are worthy and that you are worth something. And sometimes you do dress down or play down your, even in terms of what you wear, how you speak, when you speak. You kind of a bit guarded. So for me, it's really about really working very hard to make sure that my peers will accept me and accept that what I have put on the table is something worth considering. And also, I must always tell myself, I must not be afraid to be myself and to put my voice out there. Not because it's about me, it's about also empowering women to be heard by everyone. So I think women, like I mentioned, has to work extra hard so that people take it more seriously. So therefore, once you have built that brand, I mean, as an individual, where people accept your I mean, you have gained that credibility, then it's much easier to overcome. But and when you have overcome that, then it's okay already to be, you know, dressed in a floral kind of club, because you know if you're going up the ladder, it's expected that you are dressed in, you know, black, blazer, make sure you don't stick out like a sore thumb. You have to kind of blend in and behave a certain way that the men expect. So yeah, it's a lot of proving yourself, and once you have found your ground, and for you to believe in yourself that whatever you have to say is worth saying. And by doing that, you are actually opening up the way for others to also be not afraid to act, to be themselves, and not be so hard on yourself.
Thank you, Raja. That's really very vulnerable, if I may say so, and also very inspiring. And as I said earlier, that, you know, women today, we still can't be seen to be too clever, too thin, too beautiful, too powerful, and sadly, we still live in a society society that sometimes it is the way it is. Well, it's not always a bad thing because we are growing, we are evolving, and we are just emerging to be a stronger force. And the fact that we know that we can, where we are as a silent influencer behind the scene to build a strong nation, to build a strong community around us. And I once saw this plaque that says that a woman has to behave, has to look like a young girl and work like a horse. So I don't know if you can resonate with that. So,
I totally get.
so thank you, Dr. Amir, for being very gracious to me, listening to all this. And moving on, we'll just come to our last landing question. And I'd like to ask Elisha, what is your key takeaway to girls and women for mental health empowerment?
As I mentioned earlier on, I think the support from our peers, right, is important. When you have your connection, I think it's important for us to feel that you're not alone, that you're together collectively. So, I mean, that's essentially as you define, like women empowerment, and right, highlighted, the importance of you're modeling that to other women as well. So that's definitely an important part of making sure you have your peers, your mentors, and within the family as well. How do you start those conversations? But I think I would like to highlight as well when it comes to again my learnings working in the community and even with the corporate sector. Even though it's good to focus on the women and girls group in terms of all these women empowerment programs, but I think one important factor is including the men and boys in this conversation and in the education as well. And this was highlighted from our research with Wanita Berdaya Selangor on women in Selangor in terms of looking at very specific area, postpartum depression. Again, highlighting a very women-focused concern, right? So they highlighted, yes, support with women is important, but the support from the male family members, particularly in this case, husband, it's also, and family members who are male, that to be able to understand and provide the kind of support that, the social support that a girl or a woman needs in terms of whatever their role or responsibilities are. So I think it has to be a balance of both.
Women, if you're listening, to Elisha, and I like what she said about we need to include the boys and the men, and really to be empowered to say this, that sometimes whether we women are a bit discriminatory ourselves, just where we are in our roles as women, because very rarely do you hear that men have to fight for their rights, to talk about the discrimination that they feel and some of the challenges, to be able to voice it in a public space, the challenges that they themselves have to face in the real world. So I truly like that, and that would be a takeaway for myself too, that women empowerment and conversations and all that really need to include the men and the boys, of course. Raja, what would women empowerment be for you as the takeaway? And my question to you would be, what would you teach your daughter or your grandchildren? I know you have grandchildren, about women empowerment. What would you teach them for the future?
Yeah, Christine, I think you're right. I do have grandchildren. In fact, I have 9 grandchildren, of which 6 are female. So yeah, I do hope that I will be a good role model for them. But I think the main thing about women empowerment is to teach them from young that it's okay to be not okay sometimes, and you cannot do it alone, but you need to be engaged with people. You cannot be the superwoman. You have to get your support group. In my case, my support group is actually, I mean, I can't be here where I am today or achieve what I have achieved today if I don't have a very good support system going in my family and among my friends. And most importantly, what has enabled me to be where I am is actually my husband, who's sitting in the crowd. If not for him, I won't be able to divide my time to give back to the community. So I would say, if I want to tell my granddaughter, is for them to believe in themselves. I would want to build their self-worth, their self-esteem, that they don't, like, the norms are not something that will stop them from achieving what they can achieve to reach out for their potential. So I think a lot on, I would say, if I were to guide my grandchildren, would be for them to be themselves, to continue to pursue their interests, and yeah, it's always okay to be not okay.
What Raja has shared really brings us back to what we talked about in the beginning, that women empowerment is truly promoting a woman's sense of self-worth, the ability to determine choices for themselves and also to influence social changes for themselves and for the community around them. So thank you again for that, Raja. And our last question before we land, Dr. Amir, as we celebrate our 65th year of Merdeka, my last question to you would be, and I know that the work that you do around psychiatry, and Dr. Amir himself is a very much sought after speaker. If you follow him on his social media, and he is, as I said, the president of our Care Warrior Association, bringing in mental health resiliency program for Malaysians, especially the young people in this community. And Dr. Amir, I really would like to hear from you. What is your wish list, maybe perhaps in relation to policy change in society and for the nation in relation to mental health?
So first of all, I wanted to thank all of you here for enlightening me about the situation that we're all in. What I took home at least before I share that experience is something called real privilege, which I think Elisha had mentioned very nicely and Raja had shared with us. I think the other thing that we must not forget, if you think I've been kind here, it's not because of my own self, it's actually because my mother taught me so. So I think it's really important that when we talk about women empowerment, that our mothers, which are all of you potentially, have the role in actually making that happen. I think that's really important. And as we say also, if there is any successful man, he never got there by himself. There's often one woman or many behind him. My success, in whether it is my work, my personal life, or even in Care Warriors, is because of the many women that are behind me, that are probably better than me supporting me to be where I am. So similarly, like today, I'm just like the figurehead of this show. Yeah? So if there's going to be a wish list that we want, I think some of it we are moving towards. The first one is that we have better recognition of mental health in Malaysia. And I think through the budget that we've had before the last 2 years, there has been a lot of support for mental health. I hope that this particular year budget in October 7 will have even more support in terms of mental health, whether it is provision of services for health, whether it is funding for promotion of mental health, whether it is more awareness among the communities and activities like this so that people get the mental health support that they deserve. Yeah? The second one, of course, is to ensure that everybody is able to access help. Therefore, the providers needs to be also supported. The third one is, of course, decriminalization of suicide. There is no basis for you to penalize people that are at really the desperation to be put in jail as opposed to receiving some form of support. I think these are three achievable things that we can do in this particular year, and I hope that we get that done by the end of the year.
Great, thank you, Dr. Amir. And if you were following on this conversation, I also want to highlight to you that right here in the state of Selangor, are you aware of the Selangor platform? That's your access to healthcare information and also for assessment and screening. And if you would care to download the app, there is also the field on Sehat, and I understand that it's a work in progress where Sehat primarily the focus will be on mental health, where hopefully in the near future that the residents and whoever is seeking for mental health access or support, that they will be looking into complementary platform for those who need the help and support that they need. And also speaking with YB Michelle in the last week, I also understand that the Selangor government has actually increased the mental health budget just within the Selangor state by 100%. So this is very encouraging, laying aside all the fundamental behind the budget and the people, and it's really not even about that, but it's that mental health is creating decibels in our nation today, in our community today. And ladies and gentlemen, you've been a wonderful crowd, so we encourage you to keep the conversation going, talk about mental health, support someone who is struggling with emotional or mental health challenges. Be there, be that person, be that platform, be that advocacy to support someone that we can build strong community for the nation as we celebrate our 65th Merdeka in 2022. And so you have also heard me talk about Care Warrior Association and also Persatuan Budaya Wanita. We are all on social network, social media. So do log in to find out a bit more about ourselves, whether you want to be involved in the community venture events. And of course, we always welcome volunteers for Care Warrior Association, whether you're a young person or a retiree and you want to stand together for us in mental health decibels. We welcome you, come and speak to us, log into our website. And if I may promote, Dr. Amir is also helping us to bring in a session on the 15th of September, which is 2 weeks away, our Jom Subang Care Warrior Association conversation around suicide. So it will be a very interesting topic for us to learn, and a great opening conversation on a taboo subject, if I may say. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. and we wish you all Salam Merdeka. Thank you.
Alright, once again, thank you so much to all our panels and the panel moderator. Please remain on stage because we are going to present a token of appreciation to you. And I'd like to call on Miss Priska. Miss Priska Young, where are you? Okay, so I get some assistance. Alright. Okay, never mind. We start off first with the moderator. Okay? Yeah, so we start off with the moderator. Okay. So this is thanks very much to Miss Christina Goff, the representative of Council, member of Care Warriors Association. Got Miss Elisha Hoffman, who's the clinical psychologist and managing director of Well. Actually, I know her personally also. Yes, I was wondering if she could notice. And Yang Mulia Raja Noor Izzah, council member of Care Warriors Association. Very own gentleman, Prof. Madya Dr. Ahmed Siddiq Amir Mordan, Chairman and Consultant Psychiatrist. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing with us and empowering us women, and also not just educating women but men as well. Thank you so much. Yes, and also thank you on behalf of PWB in Subang Jaya. We want to thank Taman Hall for providing the venue. And yes, I can invite you to your seats and go down from stage. We are actually going to have a lucky draw, so we're going to push all the chairs